Hello, welcome back to my channel. So this is gonna be a quick hi, it's July, we recovered from June and we're moving on video. So not a super long one, nothing like the last one I uploaded, which took 2.5 hours to upload. No, not doing that for a while. I'm also not reading 83 or 85 or however many books I finished for June and July. That was a special case. And I don't read a lot of novellas, so it's unlikely that without something like Face Off that I'm going to read that kind of quantity in 1 month. I tend to average around 300 to 400 pages per book. So it's hard to fit 80 some 300 to 400 page books in 1 month. So, yeah. So this is kind of the TBR video for July, except that we are finished with July 4th in the US. This was a holiday with lots of fireworks. And so that's done. It is almost 2 o'clock in the morning. So we're officially into the 5th. I've finished 3 books so far this month. So not even a book a day yet. Partly I don't usually start out with a book a day. I usually have to start, spin up slowly and get a bunch of books going at once, and then I start finishing them. So my guess is my numbers will be closer to 30, maybe 35 for July, not 80. I am doing a competitive readathon. I'm doing the Tarot Readathon, but I did not join the smallest team. I joined Team Cups. They won last year, so this is not the underdog. I don't know if there's a winning strategy among the leadership of Team Cups that made them win, but whatever they did last year worked. They won. And while I'm definitely going to pull my weight as best I can in this one, I'm reading and counting my books as they count, and that's it. So, yeah. A little bit different feel. It's not like not doing readathons, but it's not Amazing Readathon or Escape the Readathon either. A lot more mood reading and maybe a slower pace. I don't know about that. But mood reading tends to lead to books that might be more ambitious than if I was going for just a straight up super competitive approach. And Tarot Readathon is one that lends itself to that, it sounds like. There are 3 different ways to win. There are 3 different trophies. And not all of them are hardcore reading competition like. So yeah, it's a good one for kind of easing out of the insanity of the last 2 months without just stopping cold turkey, which I think would probably be a shock to my system. What is this cute little booklet, you ask? This is where I'm recording all of my card pulls for Tarot Readathon. I've used this one for a couple reading events so far, but not very much or very well. Yeah, I have Realmathon in here. So I think that was the last time I used this little book, was for Realmathon. Yeah, so for Tarot Readathon, you draw a card. There's a chart in the documents from the Google Drive that tells you what the prompt is for that card. You read the prompt, you do the prompt, you record it, you draw another card, and you go on. Or you could draw all your cards, set up a TBR, and then read from that. Or My compromise between those two, I'm drawing 9 cards because I don't own a tarot deck. I actually had the opportunity to buy one really cheap, like from a Goodwill bin store, basically where things go after they've been rejected from a thrift store. So I could have gotten one like last month, and I didn't think I needed one, so I didn't buy it. So now I don't own a tarot deck. That may change. You know, they turn up at random times. I just don't ever think I want one. So maybe I do want one because it would make this game slightly more feasible when I'm not online. But my compromise between drawing 1 card and drawing all the cards is drawing 9 cards. And then when I get to where I've finished 7 of the 9 prompts, then I can draw the next 9. Which works really well for the fact that I'm usually reading more than one book at once. By the time I've finished 7 of those prompts, there's a good chance the other 2 are in progress. So it's time to be drawing the next set of cards. But it allows me to kind of pick and choose what I'm in the mood for within those prompts. So I did draw my 9 on the first, actually, and got my prompts. So I've finished 3 so far. My draw, I got 2 of Wands, 3 of Swords, Judgment, 8 of Swords, 5 of Pentacles, 6 of Wands, Page of Pentacles, Knight of Swords, and Page of Wands. I don't know enough about tarot to automatically know what any of those are, but that's okay, because we also do a daily draw and read on the card that we drew, and by the end of this I'll know more about tarot. But the prompts are to continue a series you've already started, a book that might make you cry, a book that's languishing unfinished, and I've paraphrased some of these because they had to fit in my little notebook, a book from a genre you don't often read, a book you don't expect to be a 5-star, but you want to read it anyway, a book featuring politics, a shortest book on your TBR, a book set in a time or place that isn't yours. So for these, I've finished. Continue a series you've already started. I read books 3 and 4 of Dune. So Children of Dune and God Emperor of Dune. If you've only read the first book, there's a lot more after that. And it goes in somewhat predictable but interesting ways from that first book. So my first prompt and my 6th prompt worked for those. Because obviously there's a lot of politics in the Dune books. So a book featuring politics, and of course continuing a series you've already started. And then a book set in a time or place that isn't yours. That one I end up using a messy murder for. I was going to read a messy murder for a book you didn't expect to be a 5-star. It would have worked for either one, but I'm pretty sure I used it, the prompt 8 for that one. So I still have 4 more to read before I'm going to draw again. I had a nifty TBR all set up on the first. Like I'd worked out what I was going to do for those 9 prompts. All these pretty books. None of these books are done. Although the first of the Dune books, Children of Dune, was on this stack. So one of this stack is done. The other 2, not so much. So I am going to limit my books for this month to books that I have physically in my collection, whether they're library books or not, but they have to actually be a book, or they have to be NetGalley arcs. And A Messy Murder by Simon Brett was a NetGalley arc, so it still works. The other two I have in print. I was listening to the audiobooks, but I have them in print. So that way I'm not just going off on total tangents, finding random things on Libby, and I did enough of that already last month. So I need to kind of bring it back to my actual books. And my NetGalley arcs, I've been getting approved for some lovely arcs, but that's going to stop if I don't start finishing some. So, yeah. And lovely arcs like the Simon Brett book. I don't know how many people in this community have heard of Simon Brett, but I really like some of his series. His Charles Paris series is possibly my favorite because I like the settings. Charles Paris being a kind of middling actor in the British theater and film scene, who always happens across dead bodies. But he's just an actor. He's not a detective. He just finds himself in these situations. He also has a drinking problem and some other issues, but I think I really like that series. And then there's the Feathering series, which is fun because the sleuths are a pair of middle-aged women, and he writes them well. I know people like them. I can relate to them myself. And they're in a small town called Feathering. One of the ladies is divorced. The other lady, despite being middle-aged, is actually actively dating, which I hadn't really thought about it until I started reading that series. I don't know that many actively dating characters who are in their middle-age stage. And middle-age being all the way up into the 50s. And yeah, so these are unusual sleuth characters that I, being in my 40s-ish, can relate to. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, the book I read was from a newer series that he's started. It's Decluttering Murder Mysteries. I don't remember if that's what he calls the series, but it centers around a lady who has started a business doing decluttering, and tends to come across bodies. This is book 4 in the series. It's called A Messy Murder. Not very long. When it comes out, it will be about 200 pages, 222 according to Goodreads. So these are not huge investments of time. They're quick, fun murder mysteries, which is why I was going to use it for a book that you don't expect to be 5 stars, but you want to read anyway. Because most of his books outside of my favorite series are about a 4. And a lot of them, even within my favorite series, still land in the 4s. Oh, and my other favorite series of his is the Mrs. Pargeter series. It's concluded as far as I can tell, but that one centers around a little old lady who is the beloved widow of a crime boss. And she's inherited his little black book with all of his contacts, and all of his people have been told to take care of her, and so she ends up being a lady crime boss reluctantly and solving a lot of murders. I love that series. So yeah, if you haven't heard of Simon Brett, check it out. All the series I've read of his have been a lot of fun. I think my least favorite is the one with the male and female crime-solving duo in, I think, the 20s. You can tell I haven't really gotten into it. I vaguely know about it. It reminds me of the Tommy and Tuppence series by Agatha Christie, but I liked Tommy and Tuppence better, and I think the one thing that made them similar enough to relate them to each other is the cheese factor. But that wasn't what I liked about the Tommy and Tuppence series. That was actually irritating. They were just a little bit too corny. So anyway, yeah, check out Simon Brett. I finished that arc. It was really good. and still definitely recommend his books. But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm up to for July, is just doing the Tarot Readathon. I may get to these guys fairly soon. For a book about books, I've got Murder Past Due by Miranda James. It's a nice murder mystery. And I'm carrying over some of the books that I didn't finish from Tar. So Neverness, I almost used it for several city prompts. It's nice and fat looking. It's not super fat, which is why I never ended up using it. It is not even 700 pages. But it looks fat. It uses fatter paper. And it looks like it has water on the cover, but it's really icy water, and I kind of wish that I'd used it anyway, because it's enough of a canal, and it is water for part of every day or so. They thaw it and smooth it and re-solidify it. But I wish I'd used this one for the prompt for the book with water on the cover for the city prompt, because the one I ended up reading was horrible. It was the closest I came to DNFing all readathon last month. If I had just stuck with this book, it would have worked for water on the cover. And it would have been such a better reading experience. But I'm going to finish it. I got almost halfway before I chose a different book. So I'm going to finish this one. Let me see where I ended up with. Because it wasn't far enough that I could even DNF it. So, yeah, just after 200 pages. So it's only maybe a third of the way finished. So this one will work for this month. And then same thing with Quicksilver. I was going to use it for prompts. And then the book with water on the cover I ended up using was also by Stevenson, and it was terrible. And even though I'd had a good Stevenson read and a bad Stevenson read, I didn't want to risk it for yet another Stevenson book. But I've heard some good things about this series. It's the Baroque cycle. So I'm going to give it another shot and see how it goes. And it might be good. And it's not a super fat book. For Stevenson, this is short. So it will happen this month because I want to get the cycle started. For a book from a genre I don't normally read, I've got another Mitch Albom. I don't do a lot of inspirational fiction or nonfiction. Being an atheist, it's a bit awkward. But Albom's books tend to be things that have something to say, whether you're an atheist or Christian or Buddhist or whatever. So I'm going to try another one and see how it goes. The last one I read by him was actually really good. It was nonfiction. And it was kind of a biography-esque nonfiction about two different religious leaders and how they got to where they were and what they were doing and why. And so it was interesting, even if you're not from that religion. So I have some hopes. This one says it's a novel, so could be good. For my shortest book on my TBR, this one's nice and short. I've been trying to get my way through all of these science fiction magazines. Somewhere in my stack of sci-fi magazines, there is a short story that I read and I loved it. I know I didn't get rid of it, but I don't remember which issue it was. I definitely don't remember the author, and I vaguely remember the title, and it wasn't one where the title was on the cover. That's all I know. So, in reading all of my stack of unread sci-fi magazines, somewhere in there is a magazine with that story. but I was not putting stickers on the ones I finished or anything. Somewhere in that stack. So, by next year, maybe I will have found the story that I remember so fondly, but not well enough to actually find it. So, I don't think it's this one, but this one has Connie Willis, and I like her stuff, so it should be good. I don't remember anymore which prompt this one was for, and it probably was for one of the ones I've already finished at this rate. It's probably for a setting that's a place or time that's not yours. But I'll get to this one this month anyway, because I want to read it before I give it back to my sister. We've been reading Jack McDevitt. It's one of her favorite authors, and this is his latest that's out. I don't know if there's an even more recent one that will come up in NetGalley at some point, because I'm ahead of my siblings on some of our authors, because I'm on NetGalley. But I think this is his most recent. So I want to read it before I give it back to her. She gave me a whole stack of sci-fi for having stuff on hand for the Amazing Readathon. So, yeah, I've got a lot of these I didn't get to that she's going to want them back. Then I have a buddy read that Coda and I were going to read it. We're still going to read it. Eventually we'll both get to it and finish it. And I'm going to try and finish it this month. It was going to be for one that's been languishing, and it probably will be the one that I read for a book that's been languishing, unread, or unfinished. Because I got that far into it. So enough that I kind of know what's going on. And it's starting to build momentum. I should be able to get into it. This is Deep Into the Ocean by Jacqueline Mitchard. If this is a book that you thought you might want to join in on our buddy read and you didn't get it in time or didn't have time for it, neither Coda nor I have actually gotten very far in it. And we're still reading it, so get your book, start reading. It's good. We just got too many things going at the same time, and Coda is on so many buddy reads and group reads at this point that we'll fit it in when we fit it in, and we'll discuss it as we get to it. So, and there is a discussion thread on my Discord, so if we ever get to it, we have a spot to discuss it even when we get to it. And this is one that I was supposed to be reading for my 24 Tomes project. And I almost worked it into a city prompt. To the extent that it has a bookmark that's a bit further into it than before when I picked it up even. So I made progress, and then I decided there was no way I was going to finish it and still get to any sightseeing for that leg. So I didn't. So I'm going to try and actually finish London by Edward Rutherford in July. It's going to happen. My 24 Tomes project has so many books at this point that are languishing. I did finish the sci-fi collection though, because in my 24 Tomes project, one of the books that got its number pulled was the Modern Classics of Science Fiction collection. I used that for leg 10 of the Amazing Readathon for the city prompt. So that one is done. So some books have actually been finished in that project. So, and then, oh, what was this one for? Well, I'm not sure what this one was going to be for, But this one definitely can be a book that I don't anticipate it being a 5-star, but I want to read it anyway. Because at this point, it might be a 5-star. It's one that I got as a Goodreads giveaway. It sounded good enough to put my name in for, and I just haven't been motivated to start it. And then maybe it's the cover. It's not a very enticing cover for me. I don't like the broken up words. It does not work for me. I have a few NetGalley arcs that do the same sort of thing with the text being all broken up, and it may be clever, I don't like it. So I don't anticipate it being a 5-star. It might be, but I don't like leaving my arcs unread. If they're sending me an actual physical book, I am going to get to it, and I'd rather get to it before it becomes one of the ones that I've had forever and still haven't read. So I think that'll work for that prompt. So I have books set aside for all those prompts that I pulled for the first 9 prompts for Tarot Readathon. And I also have 44 unread NetGalley arcs. It was 45, but I finished one today. So at any time, I may be substituting in an arc for one of the physical books that I've picked. And I think that's what I'm going to do for every round of pulling new cards, is actually set up the physical books that would work for each prompt, and then allow substitutes from my NetGalley. So that way I have a fallback physical book for every single one of the prompts, but I also have other options from NetGalley if I don't like the print book. And, I do have a whole ridiculously large home library of books I haven't read, so I can substitute in other things. I'm not locking myself into the books that I've, pulled for these prompts until I'm so close to done that I might as well just finish the book. I'm playing this month as mood reading. If I'm not in the mood, I'm going to set it aside and read something I'm in the mood for. Because next month is going to be another competitive readathon. And the team that I've joined, I think it's the Battleathon. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's something like Battleathon. And the team I'm on is Team Stars, or House Stars. So all those sci-fi books I didn't get to, the ones that have stars or planets or things like that in the title, those will get extra points for my team next month. So yeah, obviously I'm already starting to think about that. I don't want this to be another one of those months where it's hardcore competitive in my head, because I need a break from that. I've had 2 in a row that were intense, and I do want my team next month to have a chance to win. It is the smallest team for reasons, probably reasons having to do with sci-fi and that a lot of people don't read it. There are a lot of books that have stars and planets in the title that are not sci-fi, but it doesn't at least lends itself to that genre. So anyway, so that's kind of what I'm up to right now, and I'm gonna sign off. Oh, I was gonna throw in just a guess what I saw this evening, just because we had all the fireworks and all the cats were all nervous, and, well, my cats weren't nervous, but the cats outside were nervous. And I noticed that the little skunklings were hanging around near the food dish outside and just didn't really want to go anywhere else because they felt safe where they were and they just wanted to stay there. And then when they left, and, I got our cats in that were still outside, so they weren't out there. Then the next critters that came to the outside food dish was our resident raccoon, and this time she brought her babies, which we haven't seen yet. I had not been sure if she had babies, but yes, she has babies. I thought there were 2, maybe 3. And when she finally left and all of her little babies trundled after her, I counted them. She has 7 babies. Oh my goodness. Could you imagine all the work keeping up with 7 baby raccoons? So no wonder she's around every night getting food. She's got to be exhausted. Yeah. So anyway, just a little wildlife vignette for you guys. Just imagine a mama raccoon and a little baby raccoon train of 7 baby raccoons. So I'll leave you with that lovely image. Hopefully you're having a great reading month so far in July. I know it's only the 4th or the 5th of July, so it's early days. But yeah, I will catch you again in a few days with a weekly wrap-up of how this week is gone. And I'll probably have the occasional thing I forgot to say about the Amazing Readathon for the next few videos as I watch everybody else's wrap-ups and think about things that I didn't say yet. Yeah, it's been fun. Congratulations to the general fiction team in the Amazing Readathon. They did a great job. And sci-fi team, you guys are amazing. It was fun, and I know I have a couple people that came on board in cups, or at least were thinking about it, that were from our team. So I don't know if I've seen anybody yet in our chat from our team, but I'm looking forward to future competitions with some of those same people, because that was fun. So anyway, talk to you guys again fairly shortly. Let me know if you have videos coming up, wrapping up last month or starting up this month, and I will check them out. Talk to you later, guys. Bye!